let's talk about flying home from a cruise. Now, not knowing any better, when I planned my first cruise, I really had no idea what to expect about when my ship would dock, when I would get off, and I thought I needed to stay an extra day in that port city on the back end of my cruise. But now I know better. It's completely unnecessary. As long as you can find a flight that's reasonably later in the day, afternoon, in most cases, flying back on the day of disembarkation is usually the best bet. Most cruise ships return to port early in the morning on that last day, and disembarkation is usually, not always, there can be some hangups, but it's usually fast and efficient, and cruisers are usually off board pretty early in the morning. Everything goes right. Sometimes a cruiser can be off the ship as early as 8:30 a.m., although conditions may vary. A cruise ship cannot disembark until it's been cleared by the local coastal authorities. And for domestic cruises, this means that the U.S. Coast Guard must give its seal of approval before passengers can start disembarking. Now, this is generally a pretty quick process since they do this every day, but delays can happen. Delays can also happen due to medical situations. I recently sailed Carnival Mardi Gras, and we had a passenger who unfortunately had an emergency, and that diverted our ship back to Nassau, Bahamas. And as a result, our ship was several hours delayed back returning to Port Canaveral. I had a flight at 11:20 a.m. and I came this close to missing it. So what is the ideal time to book a flight on your return home after a cruise? Now, the sweet spot usually is right around noon. Any sooner and you increase the risk of missing your flight if your ship return is delayed for some reason, and you just increase the chance of stressing yourself out and being rushed. Now, anything later in the day creates the problem of figuring out what to do to fill time in the port city. So next, let's talk about what to do when you do have no choice but to book a later flight home after your cruise, leaving you with a big old gap of time to fill between getting off the cruise ship and flying back home. When it comes time to booking a flight back home after a cruise, I personally aim to book return flights that depart around the noon hour. But this just simply is not always possible. Anything earlier than that, and that increases the risk of missing my return flight home, and it also kind of stresses me out. And there's no guarantee that your ship disembarkation will be smooth or even on time. While I aim to book that return flight after noon, I'm usually pretty eager to get back home sooner rather than later after a cruise, but that isn't always possible, and I've occasionally been stuck with a late return flight home, sometimes not flying out until 9 or 10 p.m. Now, some airports won't even allow travelers to check in for their flight any sooner than 2 to 3 hours before their flight. So even hanging out for the airport for an extended period of time is not always an option. So that brings rise to the question, what do I do in my port city to occupy my time when I get off the ship in the morning, but I don't fly back home until late at night? Here are some of my recommendations. My preferred option is to stow my luggage and fill my time. In situations where I only have a few hours to fill, I'll find a place to stow my luggage. The company I like to use is Radical Storage. I'll drop the link in the description. I'll go to Radical Storage's website, search for the location where I'm at, and then try to find a place that has storage options, that has some stuff that I can do on foot. So ideal spots are shopping malls and movie theaters because filling a few hours there is usually pretty easy. So what I'll do is I'll take an Uber from the cruise port to the storage location, pay to store my luggage, and then walk around and fill my time at a shopping mall, seeing a movie, something like that. Now, assuming you don't want to waste money at the mall, this option is affordable at just about $6 per bag. Another option is to actually book an excursion. Yes, you can go on an excursion or do an activity after your cruise. Some of them include transportation to and from the activity with the ability to store your luggage securely in a bus or a van. Now, personally, I don't care much for this option as I'm generally pretty tired after a cruise, but it is a great way to maximize your activity on your vacation. If you go this route, I recommend Viator. It's my go-to affordable and quality activities and excursions, but be sure to read user reviews before booking. I'll drop my link down in the description. Another great option, and I've done this before too, is to rent a car. Renting a car is great if you can especially find a rental car agency that's close to the cruise port and that offers free shuttle. So you get off the cruise ship, you take a shuttle or Uber to the rental car facility, rent your car, you can keep your luggage securely in the trunk, and you have complete freedom and flexibility to fill your day driving around, exploring, and encountering new experiences. Although it can be more expensive than returning the car to your pickup location near the cruise port, you may even be able to schedule it so you return the vehicle to the airport. So you get off the ship, rent a car, explore, drive yourself to the airport, and just return the car there. Another great option that I do often is to book a day pass or a day room. When I have more than about 6 hours to kill, I'll book a day pass or a day room through a website like Resort for a Day. I'll drop the link in the description. A day pass allows cruisers to enjoy a hotel's guest amenities. Things like the pool or beachfront access. You can use them for the day and sometimes for a shockingly low price, even like 20 bucks. The hotel will store your luggage for you. You don't have a room, but you can use the pool, the beach, whatever else. Now, if you do want access to a room for the day, but not the night, you can book a day room. This is generally more expensive than a day pass, but it gives you easy access to a hotel room for the day, generally with a checkout time around 4 p.m. I love this option because it gives me a chance to securely store my luggage. I can go out, walk and explore. I have a nice place to chill, take a nap, or even take a shower. If the hotel has other amenities like a pool or beachfront access, you can almost always use those as well.